It represents the total varieties of all life on Earth. It involves thousands of bird habitats, millions of different species, billions of different individuals, and trillions of possessed characteristics. What is it? It is biodiversity. Our biodiversity is essential for the well-being of our planet Earth. Rich biodiversity determines healthy ecosystems. Biodiversity offers various natural services for each and every one of us. We get the benefits from ecosystem services such as protection of water resources, soil formation and protection, nutrient storage and recycling, as well as pollution breakdown and absorption. We get the benefits from biological resources for food, medicinal resources, wood products, ornamental plants, and breeding stocks. Also, we get the social benefits for research monitoring and ecotourism purpose. In short, we are able to have clean air, fresh water, fertile soil, and organic food for free because of the biodiversity. According to the World Wildlife Fund, more than 2/3 of wildlife populations were lost in the past 50 years. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, they are 1 out of 8 birds, 1 out of 4 mammals, 1 out of 4 conifers, 1 out of 3 amphibians, and 6 out of 7 marine turtles at the threat of extinction.
About 1 million species of animals and plants around the world are now at risk of extinction, in part due to pollution and overfishing. A new United Nations report says nature is essential for our existence and a good quality of life, but points to a stark warning. Humans are transforming the planet's natural habitat at an unprecedented rate.
Who is to be blamed behind all this? It's us, humans. Humans start influencing biodiversity earlier than we thought. It is a long-term trend lasting for at least 125,000 years. And it is going to be worse, where there are over 1 million species that will be lost in the coming 50 years.
Nature, the living world around us, from the tree roots and fungi to songbirds and the great whales, it's easy to forget that we are also a part of nature. Our natural world is so much more than just nice to have. It's fundamental to our survival. Often I find that while people are familiar with the problem of climate change, they know less about the loss of nature that's happening around us. We should be in no doubt. Biodiversity loss, the destruction of nature, is as grave an issue as climate change.
We are destroying our biodiversity. We are destroying our nature. We are destroying our earth. We are destroying our future.
So, what are the causes of biodiversity loss? Actually, it is mainly from human activities. Global warming, pollution, climate change, destruction of habitats, overexploitation are majorly caused by human activities. Deforestation causes a direct impact on the loss of habitat of many floras and faunas. According to Global Forest Watch, from 2001 to 2020, there was a total of 411 mega-hectare of tree cover loss globally, equivalent to a 10% decrease in tree cover since 2000. Furthermore, deforestation can also contribute to the formation of greenhouse effect. When more trees are removed, more carbon dioxide is released. Thus, it can cause global warming. Global warming has the potential to cause extinctions in a majority of the world's especially valuable ecosystem. According to National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the global annual temperature has increased at an average rate of 0.08 degrees Celsius per decade since 1880. Even small changes in average temperature can have a significant effect on ecosystem. Frequent and intense drought, storms, heat waves, rising sea levels, melting glaciers, and warming oceans can directly harm animals, destroy the places they live. With limited sources of food and water, eventually more species will become extinct. Carbon dioxide produced by human activities is the largest contributor to global warming. By 2020, its concentration in the atmosphere had risen to 48% above its pre-industrial level, which is before 1750. Burning fossil fuels, deforestation, increasing livestock farming, the use of fluorinated gas products are some of the causes for the rising emissions. Vehicle pollution is also one of the major causes of global warming. Cars and trucks emit carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. Without greenhouse gases, the Earth would be covered in ice. But burning excessive amounts of fossil fuels such as gasoline and diesel can emit a number of air pollutants that are harmful to both the environment and public health. According to United States Environmental Protection Agency, the transportation sector generates the largest share of greenhouse gas emissions compared to the other sectors. In 2019, the transportation sector contributed to 29% of the total US greenhouse gas emissions. As we all may know, in conjunction with air pollution, it can also cause acid rain formation. Acid rain can increase the acidity of water. The biggest sources of acid rain are coal-burning power plants, factories, and automobiles. When humans burn fossil fuels, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides are released into the atmosphere and reacts with water to form airborne sulfuric and nitric acid. Some types of plants and animals are able to tolerate acidic waters. Others, however, are acid sensitive and will perish as the pH declines. Flora and fauna also need good quality water to survive. Even humans need good quality water as our daily essentials. It may not kill individual fish, but leads to lower body weight and smaller size, making fish less able to compete for food and habitat.
Open bullying also can contribute to biodiversity loss. Open bullying is still a normal in Malaysia, especially in rural areas. Open bullying can cause wildfire and the release of toxic smoke into the air. Open bullying can lead to uncontrolled fires. Uncontrolled fires can be a direct threat to the ecosystem nearby, thus hinder the ability of an ecosystem to recover.
potentially undermining conservation of native biodiversity, expanding the non-native and invasive species, as well as losing of essential habitat for native fauna permanently. Furthermore, biodiversity loss can also be caused by water pollution. Some human activities such as industrials and mining that release toxic waste and leach it intentionally or unintentionally directly into our water bodies can lower our water quality and kill uncounted animals. The mine-made toxic chemical and byproducts addition might also generate some toxic and greenhouse gases, which may subsequently contribute to global warming activities or more survival environmental threats. Overexploitation means harvesting from biodiversity rest faster than natural populations can recover. Overfishing, overhunting, excessive mining, and logging are categorized as overexploitation. Currently, about a third of the world's endangered vertebrates are threatened by overexploitation. Animals are the seed dispersers, and therefore overhunting of animals will affect the entire forest. The probability of tree extinction increased tenfold. Too much logging can have serious negative consequences on forest biodiversity. Today, illegal hunting still threatens many species, especially large mammals such as tigers, rhinoceros, bears, and primates, whose body parts are highly valued in some parts of the world for traditional medicine. In the Great Lakes, overfishing has caused whitefish, walleye, and sturgeon populations to decline. Close to 30% of globally threatened birds are affected by overexploitation, particularly parrots, pigeons, and pheasants.
How do human activities affect our biodiversity? Deforestation causes habitat loss as it eliminates water, food resources, and living space for most species, limiting the number of species it can support. With an increased habitat age, wildlife may experience an increased vulnerability to predation, poaching, invasion of exotic plant and animal species into remaining forest habitat, and other factors such as direct exposure to the natural disaster that were not as much of a threat prior to the deforestation event. The plant and animal species that are unable to move or adapt to a new region will eventually become extinct. The last surviving Sumatran rhinoceros died in captivity in November 2019, rendering the species effectively extinct in Malaysia. A tiny population still survive in Indonesia, but their numbers are threatened by poaching, loss of habitat, and a low reproductive rate as they tend to live in isolation. The coastal areas of Malaysia host 4 species of marine turtles: leatherback, green, hawksbill, and olive ridley turtles. Sadly, marine turtles are threatened due to hunting and fishing activities, illegal harvesting of turtle eggs, and pollution. Leatherbacks, the largest of these turtle species, were last spotted in Terengganu in 2004. Beyond deforestation, eliminating a single species from the ecosystem can also significantly impact the spread of diseases, as the ecosystem that acts as the buffer zone was destroyed, leading to increased contact between humans and animals. In Brazil, for example, the clearing of rainforests in the Amazon strongly impacted the spread of malaria. Deforestation, exposing pools of water to sunlight, resulting in increasing temperature, creates a more favorable breeding ground for the Anopheles mosquito since it thrives in warm and humid climates. In Indonesia, the first outbreaks of the Nipah virus in humans were caused by turning the forest into agricultural land. In West Africa, road construction and logging have triggered the re-emergence of Ebola. As more regions reach suitable temperature, so will the opportunity for disease to thrive. Since human activities contribute to greenhouse gases emissions, it creates a more significant problem: global warming and climate change. How do global warming and climate change affect biodiversity? The monarch butterfly is alerted to migrate by weather changes. It migrates closer and closer to winter and often freezes to death along their route. Besides that, coral reefs have suffered from mass coral bleaching events due to the increase in global surface temperature. Greenhouse gases emissions accelerate the ice melting. The polar bear is one of the creatures that depend on sea ice to survive. Apart from reducing access to food and affecting health, polar bears are also drowning due to the ice melting. Issues like these led to polar bears leaving the sea ice to the land. The record-breaking high temperature and severe drought in Australia from 2019 to 2020 is yet another example. Australia usually is hot and dry in summer. Still, climate change, which brings more frequent and extended periods of extreme heat, worsens these conditions and makes vegetation drier and more likely to burn. Australia has about 40,000 to 100,000 koalas, which are considered vulnerable species. At least 350 koalas are feared to have been killed in recent fires. Million hectares of bushes were burned, with an estimated 500 million mammals, birds, reptiles, and insects, significantly reducing Australia's biodiversity.
One of the mitigation measures of climate change and the loss of biodiversity would be by doing reforestation. What does reforestation mean? Reforestation refers to an action of restocking back the existing or former trees. In simpler words, planting back the trees. Bukit Piton, located in Lahad Datu, Sabah, is one of the examples of the success in reforestation. Bukit Piton used to be where logging and unsustainable practices happened back in the 80s to early 2000. As of 2018, approximately 2,266 hectares of the degraded forest in Bukit Piton have been successfully restored. The highlight of the success is when wildlife begins to make use of replanted trees, be it for food or for shelter. Hence, the test to see whether or not Bukit Piton was a success story when it comes to reforestation depended heavily on whether or not the orang-utans of the area utilized the replanted trees either for food, traveling, or as nests. Surprisingly, after years of observation, the orang-utans have definitely utilized the replanted trees in Bukit Piton. Nests can be found on the laran and bio trees that line the forest. Individual orang-utans have also been observed to be eating on fruiting trees. Environmental degradation becomes critical in view of globalization and modernization at global level. In the era of technological advancements, we have started ignoring the importance of the environment that should be conserved and preserved. The major causes of environmental degradation are population growth, industrialization, changes in consumption patterns, and poverty.
These issues are threatening the equilibrium that could exist between people and the ecosystem. In an effort to address these issues, environmental education for sustainable development is emerging as a crucial approach in order to encourage students to conserve and protect the natural environment in their schools and within their surroundings, taking small steps at a time. Environmental education is not only education to inspire environmental stewardship and responsible citizenship, but also to protect today's denatured and increasingly unhealthy society. It is a medium in fostering environmentally responsible attitudes and behavior in students. Wildlife conservation is the preservation and protection of animals, plants, and their habitats. By conserving wildlife, we're ensuring that future generations can enjoy our natural world and incredible species that live within it. To help protect wildlife, it's important to understand how species interact within their ecosystems and how they are affected by environmental and human influences. Why should humans work so hard to provide care for wild animals that have become sick or injured? There are many reasons on why wildlife rehabilitation is important. Every species plays a niche or role in its ecosystem that helps the whole ecosystem to work. This includes prey animals like rabbits and predator animals like red-tailed hawks. Wildlife rehabilitation helps injured and ill animals return to their ecosystems so they can continue to play their roles. Wildlife rehabilitation is especially important for endangered species. There are very few of these animals left, and wildlife rehabilitation can help to ensure more species survive and play their role in the ecosystem. Here are 5 ways you can contribute in tackling climate change. First, turn lights off after leaving a room. This is a practice that promotes the use of less electricity overall and also can have a budget-friendly impact on your household or office utilities. Second, plant a variety of flowers in gardens and yards outside your home. This is a way to promote our immune systems, pollination, and help to maintain flying insect populations, such as bees. Third, purchase energy-efficient electronic appliances. Appliances in this category were designed to use less energy through components like batteries, wiring, and other conservation details. Fourth, carpool or take the public transport instead of driving your own vehicle. This healthy option reduces emissions in the air, which negatively impacts both plants and animals. Lastly, avoid using single-use plastic bags and normalize bringing reusable bags wherever you go. Did you know that a plastic bag takes up to 500 years to degrade in a landfill?
The loss of biodiversity is mainly caused by mankind through various modifications made towards the environment. Biodiversity has direct impact on our lives, and it is a basis in determining the health of the planet. Nature is free of charge. In return, it is our job to take care of it.
The loss of our biodiversity is a silent killer. We cannot feel the impact every day, but once we feel what is happening, it may be too late. Protecting our biodiversity means protecting human life on Earth. So, do your part and take action to protect our biodiversity.
Biodiversity is the result of billions of years of life development and evolution, and it is the basis of human survival needs. Beautiful biodiversity can be found around us, and it is closely related to our life. To protect biodiversity, in turn, is to protect ourselves.
When we refer to the geological timescales, humans have been on Earth for only a short period of time. With the increasing pressures of civilization, humans have deeply altered the environment, resulting in fragmentations and habitat loss for millions of species. Therefore, stop global warming, stop pollution, have a better life.
Is this the world that we want to have? When we enjoy the luxurious lifestyle, plants and animals suffer at the same time. In fact, there are at least 40% of the world's economy and 80% of the survival needs are derived from biodiversity. It is a necessity to save our biodiversity because they can't speak for themselves. What are you waiting for?